Good morning. Let's get into it. Brand new week. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm LaVern. And this is, you know it, one street over. What's going on one street over from We Are Living right here in Robertson County. As Mayor Vogel always likes to say, we are blessed and highly favored because we get to live and work in Robertson County. And I agree with that 100%. Mayor Vogel, I guess we'll have him in here next Tuesday. Tomorrow will be Dr. Weeks with the school board. Have a school board meeting tonight. So he'll come in and report on that. That's what we do here on One Street Over. We just try to keep you plugged in to life here in Robertson County, and then other fun things too. Just whatever seems to come our way. We've got to get Danny Ashley in here. I haven't contacted him, but I'm kind of thinking we'll probably get him in here on Thursday because we've got the Historic Homes Christmas Tour coming up this weekend. And then we've got the Daughters of the American Revolution. They're going to be putting the wreaths out. I haven't got them on the schedule yet, but those are the kind of things we're working on doing. It is Christmas time, and I went to the Christmas parade on Saturday, and it was wonderful. And so Bill is here. Bill Jones is here. This is our second Monday of the month, which is our History Monday. And so, lo and behold, you just wrote an article for the paper about the Christmas parade.
Well, it'll be out next week.
It's next week.
Yeah, next Tuesday it comes out.
Well, that's wonderful.
Christmas
because
parade. And the next week also, same thing,
Right.
about Christmas in Springfield.
Sure. and you always have such cool old pictures. I'm just looking at these pictures. I mean, it's so interesting to see how times have changed and what we call, floats now versus what they used to. And you got we had tractors in this last parade. I mean, it was a great parade. It was wonderful. And the weather was nice. It was cold, but it was great. And it was just neat. It was just a neat, I love our nighttime with the lights on.
Yeah, I do too.
Just absolutely love it. But it was a real special night, and I didn't get out to Winter Wonderland. I will. I knew it was going to be packed, and this is our birthday weekend. My husband's birthday was Friday, mine's today, so we had some things going on.
I saw a photo of that long line of cars going into the park. It was,
that was the thing.
Man.
We had so much going on with the family because we went out to dinner with the kids yesterday to celebrate the B-Days and all that. And so we had
Did you celebrate your birthday?
Mine and Mark's together, and
okay.
my sweet daughter-in-law's, because my daughter-in-law's birthday, her birthday falls around Thanksgiving. Sometimes it falls on Thanksgiving. We all forgot her birthday.
Oh,
I felt awful. And because it was one of those things, because it was like on Saturday after Thanksgiving, I said, when's Erica's birthday? Because my husband keeps it all on his calendar. He goes, it was Thursday. And I said, and you didn't remind me? I was like, because I was so busy getting ready for Thanksgiving that we had on the Friday after. I never picked up this thing and even looked at it. I mean, and we had a car breakdown on Thanksgiving. We had just all kinds of little things. My husband had an abscessed tooth and had to get a root canal. I mean, it was just kind of one of those,
Ooh, glad you all are young.
We're all good. We're good. But, it was just kind of chaotic right there. The car breaking down was the big thing. But, and of course, the root canal was pretty bummer, too. But we have Dr. Vicek, or Dr. V, over at Park Plaza Dentistry. He's wonderful, though. So, anyway, there's you a plug there, Dr. V. But nonetheless, we were out to dinner yesterday, and they were like, oh, it's Mama and Papa's birthday. And I'm like, and Erica's, too, because we didn't get to celebrate hers. So, we just kind of, you just lump them together when you're older because it's about the kids.
I remember my kids used to think somebody had a birthday near Christmas was great because they get two different sets of presents,
Well, no. It's always like, well, this is your birthday and Christmas together. And then they always give you a little something extra. It was, I've never minded being a December birthday. My son that's born on the 21st, he hates having a birthday so close to Christmas. He does not like it. And it's like, well, dude, if we, let you be born on the day you would have just been born, you might have been a Christmas Day baby. Yeah. But anyway, so that's what's going on in our world. It is Christmas time. You know what? And Hanukkah starts pretty soon, too. I think Hanukkah starts
I don't keep up with that, so I don't know.
Oh, I celebrate Hanukkah. I light the candles. And I think it's the 14th this year. And it changes because it's all based upon the Hebraic calendar and all of that. And that's based upon what the moon cycles are and all of those things. And I'm not probably explaining it very well. But Hanukkah, I think this year starts on the 14th. if I'm not mistaken. Last year it started on Christmas Day and ran through the New Year. It was fabulous. I loved it. But anyway, parades. Bill Jones is here. That's what's going on in my world. Now you know.
Parades. Christmas. From my reading, Christmas didn't have a big impact way long time ago. Early 1900s. They didn't celebrate it. Most things were going on at churches.
Yeah.
Back then, all your parties or anything, meetings or anything would be at churches, and they just didn't. They were more about the birth of Jesus Christ and not parades or, presents and all that. It just wasn't going on.
Right.
And they may have a little bit of popcorn on a string or something, But even now, I look back and I remember when we were decorating Christmas trees. We had those aluminum little stringers.
Yeah.
That we put on there, and people don't do that anymore.
Well, I have one of the old Christmas trees, the old silver Christmas trees. I've got the silver, the aluminum ones that, and I have that from the 60s. That was my family's Christmas tree. And I have a picture of my sister and I sitting in front of that with our daddy. And that's a treasure to me. I just love having that. I just love it. Absolutely.
Now the trees you buy them, little round package, and you stick this pole up and put it on, just pull it down. You got the whole thing. Decoration.
It's crazy, isn't it? Have you got your house decorated yet?
No, I don't do it. I've got Christmas decorations in my basement that would take up half this room, and I just don't put them up. I guess getting older, I said, I don't go up down the steps.
My mother got to where she didn't like fooling with it either. It's like, well, honestly and truthfully, I'm kind of there. Because my kids only come out like one day. And for me and Mark, I mean, we're so busy, And I'm not that. Of course, my house is still, we're still redoing my house. And so it's kind of still in a mess. So, you don't really want to get into it.
I used to have a ham radio tower, and I'd decorate that and make a Christmas tree out of it.
Did you?
I can't do that now. I can't climb up and down the tower. I took the tower down. But anyway, I used to like the outdoor decorations. And I still love to drive around town at night around Christmas time and look at all the decorations. It's not as much as it used to have, I don't think. But
I don't think so either. But we're cutting the same cloth because that old chimney that's out in my yard that was part of the old cabin.
Yeah.
It stood straight and tall for years, and I would put a Christmas tree off of that chimney. And did that for years when my kids were little. Now that chimney has collapsed, so we've still got the rubble there because we just don't have the heart to take it down completely because it's a legacy of what was there. So, but yeah, we used to do that. I used to do that. My husband, he would help me when I insisted. I'd like, okay, I need you to get this ladder. He would do those things that I couldn't do. He would hold the ladder for me, but he'd like,
Yeah.
He's got pictures of me hanging off the roof.
Me and ladders don't get along.
I still am up on them all the time, but you're a few years older than me, so. Anyway, Bill Jones is here. We're going to talk about Christmas parade history. He's got this article. Bill is writing. He is just a plethora of historical information, and he is now writing an article in The Connection. Do you do that every week?
Yes.
Okay.
Every week.
Awesome. What was the one this week then? What'd you do?
Baby boomers.
Baby boomers. Okay.
About around the 50s and 60s and things like that, 40s.
Yeah.
But I didn't time it right. I should have had the Christmas thing this week instead of the next week. I do it so far and ahead of time.
Sure.
I'll stay a month ahead, of writing.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes I don't know what I'm going to write about. And then I go thinking and I go, I got all kinds of stuff to write about I can remember.
Isn't that
so
fun? Yeah.
I enjoy doing it. It's just,
I'm tickled they're having you do that. I've read some of them and they're just great. I'm finding a hard time sitting down to read anything right now, but I'm just in that. I'm in a crazy season right now, and I keep thinking it's going to calm down. It hasn't yet, but that's okay. That's okay. But anyway,
we can talk about Christmas parades, which we have pretty good ones now.
Yeah. When did they start here?
Around 1950.
Okay, 1950. Brother.
Oh, I'm early morning congestion.
Got the miracle of the honey halls or whatever. This is the off-brand that I get at Dollar General, but I tell you, everybody, it's just calms down the throat tickle.
There wasn't a lot of parades around here until about 1950.
Okay.
The parades we had, I think they had one about the end of World War I. They had parades mostly about football games and events, but Christmas wasn't the major thing way back.
Okay.
But our first big Christmas parade in 1950, it was a very simple, had Santa Claus as a theme,
Mm-hmm.
And he started at Batts Boulevard. You know where Batts Boulevard is? It's going south on Main Street, across railroad tracks and the road forks. Batts Boulevard is to the left.
Okay.
Back then, we didn't have Memorial Boulevard. If you came through town, you came through Main Street, and you go straight down 431 going to Nashville.
Right.
Or you could turn left at that Y on South Main and Batts Boulevard, and then you go down the old Greenbrier Highway. That's how you went that way. Most people went 431.
Okay.
So the parade would start either at the railroad track or at the little Y. And of course, they had to be careful about trains.
Oh, I imagine.
So they didn't know when they were going to come, so there was a depot there, and they could talk to them and ask them, when's the next train coming through, because we want to get this parade through there. Of course, parade wasn't anything.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. So it wasn't
tractors.
Yeah, of course.
And a wagon maybe or something.
Did you have horses?
Yeah.
I miss horses in parades, guys. I don't know what it is with them not bringing horses. And I know it's about the cleanup and all that. But even the parades,
that was the main problem.
The parades up north. I mean, that was one of the coolest things about being when we would be at 4th of July up in Mark's hometown. And the Belgians and the Percherons, the big monster horses, were just wonderful. Yeah. But they just don't bring the horses out anymore. And I miss the horses, man. They're so beautiful.
We were going to Cross Plains Saturday. Mm-hmm. Did not think about parades. We got there and we were 5 cars behind, stopped waiting for the parade to start.
Oh, my goodness.
We were there for quite a while.
I
but
bet.
There were horses.
Oh, there were.
A lot of them.
In Cross Plains.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Cross Plains.
And they had people riding lawnmowers in shorts.
Oh, how funny.
I thought that was different.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun and silliness.
We had a couple of different wagons with students on the wagon. Had a lot of them. And there were people galore. I mean, I surprised.
Well, I'm going to have to make the Cross Plains
parade. How many people came out to a Cross Plains parade. You couldn't get through there. We had to wait.
Yeah.
Until the parade, because we were going to a little store there in Cross Plains called Paddington Bear or something like that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, very familiar.
So that was right in the middle of it. We couldn't move.
Yeah.
And finally, when we got through after the parade was over, people hung around.
Yeah.
So we parked in a filling station on the left, the parking lot, and waited, and the parade turned around and came back.
Oh, my goodness.
I thought, well, we're going to be here for a good while.
That's funny. But you got to see it at least.
Yeah, it was.
Parade. There
I thought for Cross Plains, little town, there's a lot of people there and a lot of parades.
Cross Plains is such a little fun community because of they're just very,
it's older than Springfield.
Yeah, and they love their East Robertson Indians and. I mean, they're just so well. And Barry and Rebecca, they're up in Cross Plains. We talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards all the time with Exit Prime Realty, but they just love that community. And I hear so many wonderful things about Cross Plains, and I really got to get up there to that parade.
Well, I heard one of them say, "We got to hurry. We're going to another Christmas parade."
Well, I imagine.
And it was in White House.
Yeah.
So there was White House, Goodlettsville, Springfield, all the same day.
Yeah. And you could have gotten to all of them the way they were timed.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to several.
And a lot of them did.
Yeah. Went to every one of them. Now that's diehard. I'm not going to go to every parade, but if I was running for political office, I would.
Well, we had our day.
Some politicians out there.
We had our day laid out what we're going to do when.
Yeah.
We had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Couldn't go to the Springfield parade, plus Cross Plains just put us way behind.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it did.
We were going to go to Adams, get some Christmas presents at the little head farm there.
Yeah.
And it just threw everything out.
Yeah.
And just missed Goodlettsville parade, went down there.
Yeah.
We just left 10 minutes before it started.
Yeah. Well, it was a bit, but it was a fun day. If you didn't get in the Christmas spirit on Saturday, you just weren't paying attention because there was a lot of Christmas going on. I got to go down to the parade and I got to go into Crossroads. I haven't had a chance to get in there and get me a new Christian T-shirt. That's just the place for if you're looking for some Jesus gifts. Crossroads Christian.
Yeah.
Get in there, y'all. I mean, it's just, they got a ton of stuff.
I'll tell you another place is the History Museum.
Oh,
they got a lot of stuff for sale.
Yes, absolutely.
I went there
I love
a few days ago and took pictures of everything they had to sell.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll go back and
Yeah.
pick out something for some people I think they'd like.
Yeah. Well, for the kiddos, if you've had kids, my kids, you know, having grown up here, and I typically go in there and get something every year that's Robertson County for them to put with their Christmas. And I haven't gotten in there. I've got to get Danny, actually, if you're listening, I need you on the radio 7 a.m. Thursday morning. And he needs to come in and talk about the historic homes thing. And I just haven't gotten him called yet. But we go in there, and they just do such a wonderful job.
It is beautiful in there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's been redone recently.
Yeah, it's
really
just
nice.
gorgeous. I love it in there, and I just, you know, and he'll tell you that Janet is the one that keeps all that stuff in. Right. You know, she keeps that place, you know, really.
I told her the other day. I said, you know, you all are missing out on a gift, and she said, "What's that?" I said, "Have some old Robertson County maps. They would sell."
Oh, my husband would love one of those.
And you could put them in a frame, or
my husband would love that. He loves maps.
There are all kinds of old Robertson County maps. I got one of the oldest.
Oh, you do, you?
That doesn't show much, you know.
Yeah.
Not many roads.
What year is it?
It's in the 1800s. I don't remember
I want to see it.
And I have one.
So I can see it sometime.
I have one hanging on the wall at Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And it came with the old Henry and Bell store.
Okay.
Because my dad bought it in the 1950s. And this map was on the wall because they used that to make deliveries, you know, find where somebody was.
What year was it from?
It was early 1900s. No, it may have been late 1800s.
Okay.
I believe it's early 1900s.
I want to see that one from the 1800s you got. That's really
anyway, and Janice, she said, "Oh, yeah, that's a good idea." And I thought I would buy one.
Oh, yeah.
And there's several different ones, but
yeah,
I guess you could maybe make 3 different ones and sell them.
Yeah.
At different times, but I'm now going through the archives looking for some information about roads, and that's difficult. You know, the roads have changed. In fact, I'm researching the city about alleys and roads that are not, the streets that are not there anymore.
Okay.
And so that's taken me a while to work on that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, back to Christmas Parade.
Back to Christmas Parade.
The first Christmas Parade, 1950. All it was Santa Claus throwing out candy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's all it was. He'd walk in the street.
Really? That's it?
And you think, back then in the 50s, you think, did he walk all the streets of town? We only had one street with stores on it, and that was Main Street.
Okay.
didn't have, we had, you know, I remember we had Western Auto, which was up on Central in the middle of Main Street. And kids like to go there, and even down toward where G.S. Moore building is now, that was Car and Home Supply. And they repaired cars, and the bus station was there also. But they had little metal toys in the window lined up, and we'd go down and they had tractors. The toys were tractors and little cars and things. So we'd go down there, and I guess anybody's got them, still got them, because they were heavy metal. Could throw it at somebody and hurt them. But that was, you know, we had the little retail stores was on Main Street, and that was it. And I remember some of the parades were at night. Not many, but that was real impressive. They turned the lights on when the city decided to put up some greenery and bells and things like that on the telephone poles, light poles in town. They would turn them all on at night, and they would have a grand opening of towns. But anyway, got a lot of information. We had a Retail Merchants Association back in the early 1950 and the late 40s. I think they started in the late 30s, actually, and they represented all the retail stores in town. So they organized all these parades and things and events before the Chamber of Commerce came along. And there was 1971, my brother, Richard, organized the Christmas parade, and it was fantastic. He had bands and organizations all across the United States, all across Tennessee, colleges and everything. And before then, they didn't even have Christmas parades for several years. In the 60s, didn't have anything. So when he did it, we had 15,000 people come and stand on the side of the street and watch and participate. And the funny thing, I remember, he had there was a skating rink here, and so they had a skating group, kids that were real good at skating, And the parade started on Memorial Plaza, down on Memorial, coming up beside you. They went on Memorial till they got to, I don't forget the name of that street is 4th, I think, 3rd or something. And they'd go up by Southside Drugs, turn right and go down Main Street. When they got to the courthouse, they turn right and go down the 5th Avenue Hill. That's great, but the skaters, they had to be pretty good to get it down because they were going sideways back and forth down the hill, and they were sliding.
Oh, I can imagine.
The metal skates were sliding down the hill. Then they had 2 mules pulling a wagon, and the guy driving the wagon had a difficult time holding back those mules going down the hill.
Oh, I can imagine.
So that was, everybody was watching that, and it was really, really a big deal. But before then,
fun.
The parades were just sort of off and on things and centered around Santa Claus. Then in 51 was, in 1950, it was just Santa Claus walking down the street type thing. But in 51, it was an actual parade. We had an actual Christmas parade. And it went from South Main at the railroad tracks down to the public square. And the themes that the Merchant Association came up with called Candyland. So Santa Claus is in the parade, and he threw out candy. And then the stores and this Dollar Day thing, of course, back then prices were low, so a lot of things they would reduce to $1. Now, back then, they didn't have TV or anything to shop with, so they had windows. All the stores had windows, and they would put their merchandise in the window they're promoting. So they would put stuff in the window for $1, unless it was much higher, then they'd reduce the price, but it wasn't $1. So people back then shopped by walking up and down the streets. And especially Friday nights and Saturday, people came in from the country, from the farms, and they would walk the streets of Springfield up and down. And I can remember my dad bought Henry and Bell Furniture Company back in 1957, and we would sit out front. It has a little opening there, still is, and sell things. I remember we were selling electric skillets for $7.95 one Christmas.
Oh, how funny.
And Mr. Marvin Carden, which was partners with my dad, decided he'd take one home to give to his wife for Christmas. That didn't go over well.
Like, gee, thanks.
Yeah, right. But anyway, we would sit there. Of course, people would pull in the parking spaces on Main Street, and they would just sit in their cars and talk to people out their window. Oh, yeah. And while people would, the kids and the families from the country especially would walk up and down the street looking in the windows and meeting each other they don't see very often, except at church. And so and there was decorated and lights, and so that was, a lot of fun back then because, like you say, without television and cell phones, where would you get your information?
Well, that's just
Most of it came from churches.
Yeah.
They would go to church and find out the local news. But anyway, they had what they call Dollar Days, and that's what I was describing. They'd put stuff in the window for $1, and everything is decorated. And the stores did not stay open at night in Springfield, but during the Christmas parade event, they would stay open till 8:30. That was a late time, Stayed open till 8:30 at night, a few days before Christmas. And then in 52, a new thing was introduced, and that was a fire truck. And Santa rode in the fire truck down Main Street and with a siren, and then
he did the other night too.
Yeah,
on the back of the fire truck,
and he threw candy out, and that type of thing. And then in 52, there was a fire truck, but Santa arrived by airplane, and everybody knew it. He came in at 10:30 in the morning. Now the airport was out on 49 East. When you go out 49 East, you see the little Hancock store there, and right on past that on the left it's a big flat area, and that's where they built the airport. It wasn't our first airport, but it was before you get to the 49-25 split there on the left. The big hangar's still there, used as a barn. But anyway, Santa Claus came in by airplane, and then he came to town in a car. And they kept the theme of Dollar Days and all that, and they had the Dollar Day events. And then the problem they had with the candy was when Santa Claus threw the candy out, the bigger boys got it all, and the little kids didn't get it because they weren't as quick and weren't as big. So I was up at Cross Plains, and they were throwing candy so much, people were gathering up sacks of candy, taking it home, somewhere, because it was so much thrown out.
Yeah.
But back then they thought, well, that's a big problem. So what they did, they got the JCs. JCs were a young bunch of boys, offshoot of the Chamber of Commerce. So it's JCs, a chamber, younger group. And back then, my dad was in it, several, Bobby Moore, Joe Henry Moore, a lot of town leaders that were young then were in the JCs, and they were very, very active. I was in it. They had an age limit of 35. If you're over 35, you couldn't be it. So it was the young boys, and we were very active and doing a lot of stuff. And they, I don't know, it seemed like around the 70s, I think they stopped, if I remember right. But I can remember most all the members of the JCs, and we all were active in doing something, for the town. But anyway, they had the JCs and the Boy Scouts giving out candy, so the big kids wouldn't get it all. They would hand it to them, the little kids, standing on the side of the sidewalk. And then that year, they had put lights up in town, Christmas lights, and strung them together, and then had a special time that they turned the lights on. And that went all the way down to the north, to Springfield Baptist Church. The lights went from the road track down to Springfield Baptist Church. There was not any lights on Fifth Avenue, just Main Street, because that's where all the businesses were. If you can imagine that now, we've got, all kinds of businesses all over town, but back then Main Street was it. And that's sort of funny because, we lived close enough I could ride my bike to town. We would live down near the high school, where it is now. Not now it's middle school. But and in 53, Santa came to town riding in a red convertible. They didn't have Corvettes then to ride in, but he came in a red convertible, of course, throwing candy out. And he went to the courthouse. And this year, the first time they put a nativity scene on the grounds at the courthouse. First time they've done that. You'd think that would be the main thing originally, but it wasn't. It was Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But anyway, they put that on the grass, by the courthouse up there, a little scene. And the parade started at night. That's the first time they had one at night at 7 o'clock. And that was on December the 11th, and that's 1953. And again, the store stayed open late, and everybody came to town and had a good time. There were other cars in the parade. Summers Motor Company, which was located on South Main, on the right after you cross railroad tracks, they entered cars. Payne Brothers entered cars. Payne was located uptown, right across the street from the square, where the senior center is now. And they all furnished cars. And then they had the National Guard marching, and they had high school bands, and Santa walked the streets. He walked the streets several days, just going from store to store, giving out candy, and people wanting to see him. Then happened, the next thing, which was really good, in 1954, the Merchants Association decided they would give tickets if someone went to the merchants, not just the kids, but the parents had to take them and get tickets. They gave tickets to them for a free movie. So I have a picture of all these kids standing in front of the movie theater, Princess Theater, and we had two theaters, Princess and Capitol. But this free movie was at the Capitol at that time.
Which one's still existing?
Capitol building does. The Princess.
That the one where that was the Capitol Theater, the one we still have?
Yeah.
Where was the Princess Theater?
On the north side of the courthouse. It's several different places. There's now lawyers and.
Okay, and that was the Princess Theater. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Princess was here first. And there were several Princess theaters all over Middle Tennessee, several Capitol theaters also.
Okay.
But there was one person that owned all these theaters right around Middle Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And I can remember going to it. It had their decorations. There are a little bit of decorations of the Princess Theater in some of the offices up there in the basement and thing. But they have a lot of them at the museum.
Huh.
And it's real like when you see it, looks like an old timey circus or something. It had all kinds of painting and twirls and stuff, all in the Princess.
We had a theater in Paducah that we went. The theater we had in Mayfield wasn't that big of a. I mean, I don't even know that we had a theater in downtown Mayfield. We had one out in the plaza when I got up in high school, but I don't think we had one on the downtown square in Mayfield ever. But we had one in Paducah that we could go to.
Yeah.
And I remember the scrolling and
I had that.
It just had this, these ornate, carvings and stuff. It was beautiful. But that was I don't know if it's still there, but interesting. I didn't know we had a Princess Theater. I just thought we always had just the one.
Well, actually, we had about 5 theaters.
Really?
At different times, and they were located all over town. And of course, back then there wasn't any talkies. I call them. It was all somebody doing a live thing, like a goat and something.
Interesting. Well, it's before you had television and things like that.
Yeah,
you didn't have. If you wanted entertainment, you went to the theater.
And I remember paying 12 cents to go to the Capitol and Princess both, and that was quite a bit of money back then. That wasn't like it is now,
Yeah.
So they were in competition with each other, and Sudeikis, I think, had the Capitol Theater. And But anyway, that was the place to go. There was no other entertainment, so to speak. But before that, late 1800s, early 1900s, there were several small theaters where they would have plays and stuff like that at them. One I can remember is on the east side. Let's see. I'm thinking. Yeah, east side of the courthouse. The building there now has big columns on it. Used to be a bank, but that was one theater, and I'll have to look it up. I've got all that information at home, but don't remember the name of it. But there were little places they put on shows, and one you can sort of see is up in Guthrie. They had a theater on the left there, and when somebody's remodeling it, I saw some pictures of it. They had all these names written on the wall, people who entertained there and all.
Huh.
But I think it's
so much fascinating.
It's a Mexican restaurant now, I think there.
Wow.
But that may not be right. But anyway, there was a theater up there in Guthrie. Of course, Guthrie was a big deal at one time.
Okay.
Then the next year, 54, same thing, dollar days, because they were very successful for the retail merchants because it brought parents to town for the kids to get the tickets for the free movie. Mm-hmm. And so parents had to come. So parents bought. And so this thing of a free movie went on for several years after that because it was very successful for the merchants. 55, there was no parade. But they had the theater party, the movie theater party again, because it was very good. And then we had parking meters uptown in the 50s, and what they would do at Christmas time and put covers over the parking meters so you could get free parking.
Okay.
And other than that, on normal times, they had a little two-wheel wheelbarrow with a metal top on it and a slot in the center, and someone would go around town with a key to the parking meters and collect the money out of them every week. And one of those was Clyde Casey. Clyde Casey, if you lived here around that time, everybody knew Clyde. Clyde has a very low IQ, and he didn't say much, but he would go into merchants, the stores, and he'd holler out, "You won't work." And they'd say to Clyde, "No, Clyde, you won't work. No, you won't work." That was
his thing.
That was his thing.
How funny.
And then,
but he would collect the meters.
Yeah, that was his job. And you gave him a job, he did it, right? Yeah. Exactly. I remember he went to the Springfield Baptist Church, and this was the old church. And there was in the foyer way going into the side of the congregational assembly area, there was a button on the wall that rang a buzzer. You push it, and it buzzed. And they used that to indicate when Sunday school was over and church service began.
Like, hey.
And there was a clock laying on the wall right above the buzzer. So they assigned Clyde the job of pushing that buzzer at 11 o'clock. So he would stand there with his finger out, looking at that clock. And as soon as it hit 11 o'clock, he pushed the buzzer, and then he went in and sat down. So, like I say, he didn't have a lot to say.
Yeah.
But one time there was a visiting evangelist, and Clyde, as you go in, he'd sat in that first pew right up front, and that's where his position was. And so this evangelist, he didn't know anybody. And at the end of one of his services, he called on Clyde for prayer.
Oh.
Clyde got up and said, gotta go. And he went out, never came back.
Oh, bless his heart.
But Clyde was, those who lived here then, everybody knew Clyde. They took care of him. First National Bank, a couple of men there, Culver Burnett and Bob Calloway, they took care of his finances for him. He lived down on Cheatham Street.
Yeah.
His daddy was a constable, and they lived, right as you start going down Cheatham, they lived right on the left. And they died, of course, so the townspeople took care of him.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the interesting things of Springfield.
Interesting. Well, you said that he left and never came back. Just that day, he came back.
He never came back.
Never came back to the church?
Never came back to church, no.
Oh,
you never know what affects people. You know, you just don't know.
That is something that we're very, very aware of in, an assembly, that you really got to be careful who you call him for stuff like that. Bless his heart. How long did he live?
He lived up into his 70s.
Okay.
He was born, let's see if I can remember, in 1912, I believe.
Oh, bless.
So he was on up there in age, but as he got older, he got a little quirky, and people had to watch out for him, take care of him, see that he was eating, and he had a home left over from his parents. But if it wasn't for the First National Bank guys like Culver Burnett and Bob Calloway and those, Edwin Bryant, I don't know what would have happened to him. But he always knew to go down there they kept his money. They took care of him, bought his clothes.
See, some people would have taken advantage of him. You know what I mean? And they just,
There was a few that did.
Yeah,
And there was some thugs one time that beat him up a little bit on the street because he was acting so funny. They didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
But there were things that happened like that, so people even watched him closer to make sure. J.B. Porter, who's now deceased, he worked at Downey and Jones Jewelry. And everybody knew J.B. He was a real good football player at Springfield. But J.B. came up with this idea back when CBs were real strong. They'd give him a walkie-talkie, a Citizen Band walkie-talkie. Well, he was Car 54. There was a movie, a series out called Car 54.
I've heard.
This was in 60s, I guess, early 70s. But anyway, he walked.
Car 54, where are you? I just remember that from my childhood.
And they would call him. We had a CB radio with a antenna on top of the store, and we used it in our delivery trucks. So when you hear Clyde on it, say, "Hey, Clyde, you won't work," and he'd come back, "You won't work."
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
So anyway,
so you started talking. Go ahead and finish that. But you started talking into Christmas. I know, but it was interesting. So
anyway, the last thing I want to tell about Clyde, a lot of stores had the CBs, so Clyde, he started interfering. When you trying to talk to your truck or something, he was getting there hollering, "You won't work."
Oh, yeah.
So JB was running the batteries out of the little walkie-talkie every couple of days. So then JB'd go up there and JB give him new batteries. So then we called JB and said, "JB, you can't stand this. He's interfering with everything." So JB told him, says he didn't put any new batteries in. He said, "Oh, it's just broken."
Oh my!
So he got his mind off of that on something else. Anyway, back to the Christmas parades.
So what did he have to do with that? Collecting
nothing. It was just my thoughts of those years.
Well, because here's where we went. I love kind of tracing it. We were talking about how that they give free parking at Christmas, and then you got to thinking about Clyde collecting the money. But that was a fun journey.
Well, I talk about covering the parking meters.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, that was a fun journey about an interesting Springfield character. But I loved that. That was so fun. You'd never told me about him, so that's really interesting.
Well, anybody my age, they don't know about him if you ever mention it.
That's funny.
So then, let's see. The 1956 was the first time they had floats.
Okay.
For a Christmas parade. They had floats for football game or tobacco parade or something.
The fair.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's usually when they had the tobacco floats and things like that. But anyway, the Christmas floats were in 1956, and also the free movies with Santa Claus and all that. I knew some of the Santa Clauses. I don't know if you know Scott Morton. Scott Morton played Santa Claus for several years. Then 57, they had no parade, but they had the free movie, and they promoted a Christmas opening in the store, and there was Santa Claus. They would turn the lights on. Everything was decorated, so they had a specific Christmas opening on certain days for the retail people.
Right.
Let's see, and got the free tickets at the movies. In 1958, there was no parade, but they had a nativity scene they put in at the courthouse, and then they had lights on a pole, but no parade. And from then on, they didn't hardly ever have parades, Christmas parades, for a good while. But in 58, they had something called, there was a series that came out on television in 1956 called The Price is Right. You remember that? It was on.
It's still on.
Yeah, it was on for a long time.
Yeah.
So they had a promotion at Christmas time called The Price is Right. And they would put things in their windows, the retail merchants, and you guess at what you think it sells for. And every merchant had a window, and they would write down on a page, John Doe, I think it sold for $6.95. And so then at the end, whoever got the closest of all the prices,
right?
They won a prize, and I think that was probably $10 or something. Money back then wasn't anything, But that NBC had that on there, on television. That those who had televisions, I remember the first TV on my community, not the street, but 3 or 4 streets over, and we all went and watched this little round tube thing, Anyway, 59, there was no parade, still the free movies and dollar days because it was so successful. And what was so significant about 1959, they gave away silver dollars.
Oh, wow.
For every little kid that went to the movie, which got a ticket from a local merchant, they had little prizes, candy in the sack, and they put a silver dollar in there. They did that for a few years, and that was a big deal. I just wonder if anybody still has the silver dollar they gave away then.
Oh, that would be neat to find that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. I don't know. But I can remember because I was 10 years old or something like that. I remember getting my silver dollar, and I got a bunch of coins. I may have it. I don't know, but
that is neat. I love that.
I had a coin collection, and I had one of these little things you put the dimes, nickels, and quarters in, for every year. And I don't know whatever happened to that. My mother probably threw it away. 59 was the silver dollars. 1960, they still did the silver dollars, but no parade. They didn't have any parades through 1964, and that sort of got where people said, we sure missed the Christmas parades, but never was. They just sort of got uninterested in them. They had Christmas openings and that type of thing. And then in 1967, they had a fire truck. It went from Memorial Plaza Shopping Center, which my old store was there, up around through town with a fire engine and let kids ride on the fire engine. That was sort of exciting. But 1971 was a great year for Christmas parades. My brother put it on. That's
when you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, in the Christmas
with the mules going down the hill.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he did this. His name's Richard Jones. There were 15,000 people who came, and he started down on Memorial, went up through Southside and going back down Fifth Avenue, and he had more people in there, more organizations than anybody had ever thought about having, and it was, to this day, probably the best thing Christmas parade we've ever had. But
15,000 people here for a Christmas parade.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. Yeah.
When you said that earlier, I was like, what in the world? Because I wonder how many I don't think we had those kind of numbers that are, anything close to that.
Well, they hadn't had anything in years.
Yeah.
All through the 60s.
Yeah.
They had 12 floats, which before you might have 1 or 2.
Right.
Had 12 floats, 6 bands. I So this went on for some time. By the time they got started and going down Memorial up around Southside and ended, the other back side was just beginning.
Yeah.
It was huge parade.
Right. And I imagine getting to come out and hear all that music too. It
was a lot of music.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
The high school steppers, I don't know who they were, so maybe I don't know, country music dancing or something.
Yeah.
They were called the high school steppers. Miss Tennessee was there. They never had anything like that.
That's cool.
And of course, Santa Claus was in the parade. Of course,
yeah.
They had the highlights were a bayonet presenting drill team with bayonets, Castle Height from the Castle Height Military Academy. They had the Navy ROTC band from Vanderbilt, Shriner Motor Squad with the clown cars, and all that. Yeah. That was really attractive to the younger people. Wagon drawn by mules, as I was telling you about, going down Fifth Avenue Hill. And, they had to rein them in. Now, those mules, all that weight was pushing behind them.
Yeah.
They had the skaters, skating sideways down Fifth Avenue. It was called the Springfield Skating Rink back then, what we had. We had judges for floats. And the judges were Beanie Elam. Beanie Elam was known, he worked at the Woolen Mill, but he was known for Boy Scouts. He led Boy Scouts for years. I was a Boy Scout under him, and he was a very interesting guy. And then Mr. and Mrs. Guy Stanley. Guy and I belong to the Kiwanis Club in Springfield. I see him about every week. I'm going to tell him about this. But they were the judges of all the floats. And the best all-around float was Tennessee Twirling Institute. Then first place was $30. That's what they got.
Oh, wow.
The prize for originality was a Springfield Baptist Church float. And then the best theme float was Mount Carmel Baptist Church, called Old Fashioned Christmas. And the second place category went to FHA Springfield High School float for best all around. The second place for originality went to Student Council SHS float. And it just went on and on. They had Junior Methodist Youth Fellowship from Adams Methodist Church. They had all the churches around participating with floats. Santa Claus was going to arrive by parachute. Now, I remember years ago, years ago, they had a wedding on the square, and the preacher came in by parachute. Not the preacher. A guy came in by parachute that had a ring, and he landed on the square, walked up and handed the ring to
what a cute thing, though.
To them.
That's great.
I thought, how is he going to do this? But he must have been from Fort Campbell or something.
Yeah.
He was it's so narrow in there. But anyway, this year,
great. Santa
Claus was going to come in by parachute on Memorial Boulevard, but the weather wasn't good, so they didn't do that. Santa Claus appeared on a float in the back of a pickup truck and a rocking chair. Originality there, right? And it was something. And after that, parades began to be a big deal. Everybody picked up on what he did.
Yeah.
On that parade, and every year was a lot of stuff going on with 6 floats, several drill teams in 1973, precision teams. Tennessee State, Alameda Shrine Temple, and other marching units. Remember, I had a band from Branchford. Branchford was top notch. They would just put on a show.
I bet.
Everybody came to watch them because they were so good. I still, I've got some pictures of it, but I still remember that.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
So.
They made probably a very big impression, more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And first time in 1973, they had Mickey Mouse, Yogi Bear, and Brer Fox. I don't remember Brer Fox, but anyway, Brother Fox, and star of the parade was Santa Claus. But then we had Sir Cecil Creep. You weren't here. Sir Cecil Creep, they had a scary show on Channel 4. And it was, they'd show.
I've heard about it. I've had people mention that to me, and I didn't have any idea what they were doing. This guy. They did it was kind of like the Twilight Zone kind of guy that hosted that.
Ghostly things,
Yeah.
And so Cecil was all dressed up. He had a tooth hanging out and bald-headed, and he, everybody knew him. Channel 4, everybody knew who he was.
Yeah.
So wherever he went,
I've heard
they
it
signed
mentioned,
autographs and
so he came out.
They took him up to the old post office where the museum is now. It used to be our YMCA. I was on that board of directors of that original YMCA. And that's where we had things going on in that building. And they took him up there, and he signed autographs. And people come by the building and see Sir Cecil Creep and sign autographs.
That's Sir Cecil Creep. I'm going to pause you for a second. I need to do a break. It's 8 till, and I've got to get we only have one that we're doing this morning. I do want to just tell you to go out and see Bernard Farms, though. They're not open today. They'll be open tomorrow. But, they have got it packed for holiday sales. But I want to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards because we're talking about parades. They were in the Cross Plains Parade with their little smart car. And that was just great. I love them. They have so much fun, and they were out and about with their. I put up some pictures of them from the parade since we're talking parades today. But I got to say, big congratulations to Barry because he made the top 100 in sales volume for the Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas district or region for Exit, and I mean we're talking number 8. That's pretty good. So I mean the success that he and Rebecca are having with what they're doing is a testament to these are the people you want on your team. But again, congratulations, Barry. Number 8 in the top 100 in sales volume for Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Texas for the Exit Group. They are Exit Prime Realty. They were part of the Exit is the bigger umbrella, and there's a lot of there's realtors that come off. There's branches in that tree. Well, Exit's one of those branches. They were with the Garden Gate team for a long time because Exit's just a great company to work with. Rebecca, years ago, she was in radiology. She was home with her kids, and when she was going back out into the workforce, she had, started doing some real estate part-time. And she said, I want to make sure I've got a company that is going to be there for everything I need. And she found Exit, and they've been with them ever since. And you can see why. But whatever it is you're looking for, they can help you out. Just tell them what you're thinking. If it's something, if you're wanting to buy in a particular area, if you're wanting to sell, they can do a free market analysis for you to make sure this is the right time for you to sell. And they said they put up the latest post for Rebecca as far as a listing was a posting in Scottsville. It's on 141 Matt Drive in Scottsville up in Kentucky. So if you want to live in Kentucky, work in Tennessee or whatever, because it's a little more affordable in Kentucky, they got a beautiful home up there that's just been listed up in Kentucky. So go and follow them on social media. You can Google Barry Richards Exit Prime Realty, Rebecca Richards Exit Prime Realty, and find all their things. And if you have really specific needs, you want you want to know how much home you can buy, they can help walk you through that. If you want to know how much your property's worth, they can walk you through that. If you want to be a realtor, they can help you with that. They specialize in Robertson County properties because they're Cross-Plainians for 30 years. And they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line of Kentucky because, like me, they're originally from Kentucky. Get a hold of Barry and Rebecca Richards today, Exit Prime Realty. You can give Rebecca a call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Let them know U-Turn sent you. Okay, finish this up there, Bill. You got a little bit more to go. Okay.
71 parade kicked off the really good parades we had in Springfield. Okay. 72, 73, they just built on that. And they were really something to come see. We had Kentucky, we had bands from Kentucky those years, Tennessee Prep Band, 30th Armored Division Band, the Springfield National Guard. It just kept on getting bigger and bigger.
That's cool.
And, of course, all the other stuff. So anyway, some of them were in the afternoon, some at night. One of the very few night parades, but I think that's pretty neat with the lights and all that stuff they have them at night. They had one more guy, Channel 4 in 73, had Huell Hauser. Huell died of cancer several years ago, but he was a well-known personality, and he came and was Grand Marshal of the parade.
Oh, fun. Mm-hmm.
So we had, Channel 4 was really, really active back then. Mm-hmm. We had Sir Cecil Creek, we had Huell Hauser, and some other people from Channel 4, and it was a really big deal, and everybody came to town, and it was, when you read about some of these things, you can see how Springfield changed. The prize for winning the best float was $150.
Oh, that's
back
a lot
in the
of money.
70s.
Yeah.
Back 10 years before was like 20.
Yeah.
Things like that. So you can see by that how things change so much.
Yeah.
And we have so few people left. I just wonder if anybody has any good pictures, they ought to give them to the archives or museum.
Oh, for sure.
Of the parades. And people have not talked about them much. But luckily me, I was there.
And now you've made record of it.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we need to write this stuff down, guys. This is so cool because everything we're doing is on YouTube. You can find it there. So that's archived. But he's got a written archive in the connection, and those will be preserved. We need to write down this stuff, guys, because we're losing it. We're losing it. And I appreciate you so much coming in here and sharing this stuff with us. That's so good. Did you get done? Did you get through it all?
Oh, not really. Just got to the 70s.
Oh, that's funny.
I remember I had a bicycle. I got a picture of me and my neighbor. We put ribbons through the wheel spokes of the bicycle, and we were all dressed up, and we would go ride in the parade. And we had a lot of people with bicycles, kids.
The kids are just riding the parade.
Through the years, everybody dressed up, and it was just really a fun time.
Yeah.
With no worries.
Yeah, for sure.
No worries about bombers or
Yeah.
somebody shooting somebody or anything, just an enjoyable time of year.
It was just a really sweet time. I appreciate you sharing this with us. We're out of time though, but this has been fun. If you're not in the Christmas spirit, if you didn't get out to the parade this weekend, go out to Winter Wonderland. And we were talking about horses. They've been doing some horse-drawn carriage rides. I've got to get the details on that. I'm assuming you'd have to pre-register.
They've done that before. It's really neat.
We did them downtown.
Yeah.
My 60th birthday, I got to have a carriage ride through downtown. That was just super special. And we had dinner downtown. That's what we did on my 60th birthday.
Do they tell anything about the downtown when they have those carriage rides?
No, it's just a ride. Yeah, it's just a ride because it's just a quick little loop around because there's so many people that want to do it. It's just such a fun novelty. But they're doing the carriage rides down at Travis Price through Winter Wonderland, and I don't know the specific schedule on. I'll get it and I'll have that for y'all tomorrow. But something you're gonna have to pre-register for, and it may already be locked up. I don't know because people put their name down for that stuff early. By
the way, I interviewed Mary Ann Grief. You may not know her. And she's still living in a nursing home, but she described all the stuff that went on down on the streets and town at night during Christmas time. I've got that out.
Who is she again?
Mary Ann Grief.
But
she used to be a Parrish, Charles Parrish's wife.
Okay.
But Bentley Parrish, who just recently deceased, is his mother.
How old would she be? So she just remembers
she's her daddy owned Bentley Five and Dime.
Okay.
She's in her 90s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So one of the very few people left that can tell you about
all about it. Very cool. I love it. Talk to these folks, guys, and get the history because we live in a really wonderful place. We appreciate you, Bill. Yes, Merry Christmas.
You too.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a good one.
Yeah, us too. We're going to have a great one. And I hope you are as well. And I hope you'll join us tomorrow. We'll be here with Dr. Danny Weeks. The school board meeting is tonight. So if you want to check that out, you can check that out. They, keep it open to everybody. So if you want to go and check out the school board meeting, but Dr. Weeks will be in here tomorrow to give you an update on that. And thank you for joining us. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful day.
Happy birthday.